Should you trust your intuition? Science seems to be showing us that our intuition is a big pile of garbage and therefore we should not trust it and just believe whatever science says. Obviously, as a philosopher, I'm going to tell you that's a big load of crap, and there's obviously a balance point between believing science and your intuition. But before we get into that, it is time for something random. Now, my random thing here is actually very related to intuition. It's an intuition puzzle, but it's random. It can be related or it can be not related. So, here it is. I have 4 coins here. I think you can see them. Might be a bit too much light. Anyways, 3 of them are heads, and 1 of them is tails. Now, if I were to randomly grab 2 coins here, what would you expect the 2 coins to most likely be? Now, before I give you the answer, I want you to figure out what your gut feeling is. And I want you to also figure out how confident are you in your gut feeling. Pause the video now if you want some time to think about it. I'm going to say the answer right after this sentence. The correct answer is you have a 50% chance of getting 1 tails and 1 heads, and you have a 50% chance of getting 2 heads. So it's actually 50-50. And to me, that seems counterintuitive. My intuitive guess would have been 2 heads, but at the same time, I would have had maybe only a 65% confidence in my guess. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was 50-50. The dictionary definition of intuition is basically a feeling based on nothing. You have this gut feeling based on nothing that you should do something. And personally, I feel that these gut feelings are not based on nothing. I feel that they are based on a lot of things. They're based on all the unconscious calculations of your brain. And the only conscious projection you get from these calculations is a feeling somewhere in your body. Now, a great example is there is this guy at my philosophy club, and he's a security guard, and he says when he would, see a certain alley, he'd be walking down a dark alley, right? And he would just get this gut feeling, I shouldn't go this way. And that gut feeling kept him alive really, really well. And what he realized is it obviously is not based on nothing. It's based on a lot of things. It's based on a huge amount of learning that he had from the process of being a security guard. He recognized which dumpsters are more likely to have, crackheads behind them. He recognized what kind of alley is a good place for a guy to hide and jump out with a knife, right? So it's not based on nothing. Now, I think almost anyone would agree with me that there is obviously information in our brain that we don't know. We don't actually know what we know, and there's a large amount of data that we don't consciously have access to. However, I would go a step further, and I would also say we don't know what we think. I would also say that the unconscious parts of the brain are making calculations. It is figuring out things, it's organizing information, it's generating information, it's storing information in a process that we are completely unaware of, but that we often can become consciously aware. Now, while it's incredibly obvious that somebody who is intelligent is more likely to have intelligent thoughts in their head, I would also argue that somebody who is intelligent is much more likely to have an intelligent intuition, because thoughts and intuition both rely very heavily on the unconscious mechanics of our brain. Now, one of the most common examples science freaks use for intuition being bad is the Monty paradox. I've seen that used hundreds of times to justify how our intuition is unreliable trash. And to me, when I heard the paradox the first time, I said, my intuition told me this is a load of crap. So I investigated it a lot further, and it turns out it actually is a pile of crap. Whoa, now I just made a pretty big accusation, and before you dismiss me as a lunatic, bear in mind my dad is a math professor, and we took this problem to the probability theory department at the University of Calgary, and the paradox is definitely fallacious, and I'm going to explain why. So, in case you're unfamiliar with the paradox, I'm going to explain it. You can probably find a better video explaining it, but I'm just going to tell you what the original problem states and doesn't state. And the original problem says, suppose you're on a game show, and there's 3 doors, and one of these doors has a car, and 2 of them have goats behind it. Now, you open, or you pick a door, so let's say you pick this door, and the host of the show opens this door here and reveals that there's a goat behind it. Now he gives you the choice of switching to this door or not, or sticking with your same door, and the reasoning is you should switch doors. If you switch doors, it improves your odds of winning. But this is not true. Now the only way that this problem would work is if A, the host knows which door the car is in, and this is stated in the original problem. If you go on Wikipedia and look up the actual wording of the problem, it does say the host knows which door has the car, but it doesn't say that the host will not pick the door that has the car in it. So, if the host opened this door randomly, then then that does not change the odds. That means if you switch doors, you still have a 50-50 chance. If the host picked this door while systematically avoiding the car, then that changes the odds to 2/3. Now, if I were to tell you the exact same problem again and give you the correct information, and I were to tell you that the host knows which door has the car, and the host will not pick the door that contains the car, then I don't think you would be surprised that you were wrong. I think you would have said, well, okay, now the problem's more complicated. Okay, so he's not going to pick the door with the car. Now I have to think about this a lot more carefully, and you probably would not be surprised if you were wrong. Now, of course, annoying people are going to say, it's obvious, if the host knows which door has the car, he's not going to pick the door with the car. Now that is incredibly not obvious. That is a terribly fallacious reasoning. So I could give just as many reasons why the host would pick the door with the car, or why he would randomly select doors, or why he would intentionally mislead you in this scenario. So for example, let's say I was the host, I'd say, maybe this guy seems smart, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the Monty Hall trick. Maybe he knows that the Monty Hall paradox. So when he picks this door, these doors both have goats, I'm going to only open this door if this door has a goat. So how about that? The most common example of how our intuition is wrong, it turns out that the actual example is wrong, and that our intuition might have been right. I'm not sure. You'd have to give the problem and state the proper assumptions to see what people's intuition is. But I can almost guarantee you, people would just say, I don't know, there's too many damn assumptions here, I need to draw it out and work it out. It'll take me a while. Now, of course, there is examples of where your intuition is wrong, like the coin problem at the start. But at the same time, I would say most people would not have placed 100% certainty in them being right with the coin problem I gave you. Now, people are going to say because our intuition is not always correct, we therefore can't trust it. But this is fallacious reasoning. Obviously, if something has a very high probability of being correct, you can trust it. So, for example, if you have a weatherman who's reasonably good at their job, and you look at the weather forecast, is that any guarantee of it being correct? No, but it's the most accurate means we have of predicting the weather. The same thing is true with science. Science is wrong all the time. It's constantly correcting and updating itself. Does this mean we can't trust science because it's known to make mistakes? Of course not. And the same thing is true with intuition. As as the brain learns more and more things, the intuition becomes more and more intelligent, and those gut feelings have more and more meaning and importance to them. When somebody tells you intuition is invalid because science has proven intuition to be wrong, this is as equally and obnoxious of a statement as saying science is useless and invalid because intuition has proven science to be wrong. And both these statements are true. There are times when science has proven our intuition to be wrong, and it turns out, ooh, reality really is an illusion. And there's also times where our intuition goes, that science study sounds really, really dopey to me. I'm going to look into it. And then when we look into it, it turns out the science was wrong. It was conducted, the observation was conducted incorrectly. The illusion was an illusion. If you like this video, subscribe and check out my other videos. You know your intuition is telling you to. And if you have a video request topic of your own, leave it in the comments below. I do every video request ever, no matter what it is.